What it do, Slaz Up crew? We are nearing the biggest UFC event ever. Not because this card is the greatest in UFC history. No, that would be UFC 300. But rather because this will be the most watched event in UFC history. But why? We can look to Dana White for this event. Dana has to be the person up the most from this event. Not only is he hosting fights on the White House lawn, but to broadcast the event around the world is going to make this one of the most viewed sporting events ever. Not just in, the UFC, but also in the sport of MMA. So Dana is the real winner here. He's super up from this event. What's so different about this event is the political aspect. It is impossible to separate this event from politics despite, what people, Dana White, say. The entire event is centered around Donald Trump. They're promoting this as a celebration of America's 250th anniversary, but that's not the case for this event. Firstly, the true 250th anniversary of America falls on Saturday, July 4th. Instead, this event, UFC Freedom 250, is going to be held 2 weeks before, on a Sunday, June 14th, which happens to be Trump's birthday. The real issue with this event is that it now drags the UFC down into American politics. The White House card is inseparable from politics. It creates this kind of weird relationship where you can't talk about the event itself or the fights on the card without also talking about politics. As a fan of UFC and MMA, this upsets me. This event taints the UFC with politics, two things which were separate before this event. And I think we should keep the UFC separate from politics, keep the two subjects their own thing instead of mixing them together. What's even worse is that Big Yahoo will reportedly be in attendance for the fights. I have no idea what Big Yahoo knows about UFC, but it's even worse to have him associated with this event. I could go on and on about the politics of this event, but what the fuck is this, the politics channel? Let's talk about the fights. Where to even start on this fight? I'm going to start by stating the obvious. This fight will end in a finish. Ilia Topuria opens as a minus 720 favorite. Justin Gaethje is placed as the 450 underdog. So those are pretty crazy one-way odds. You're telling me I can take the $31 in my wallet right now, place them on Justin Gaethje, and I can nearly 5x my money if Gaethje somehow flukes a win over Ilia? It's a fight. Both fighters come into the cage with serious knockout power and experienced wins. I'm conflicted when I say that I pick Ilia Topuria to win this fight. Something inside of me, some little sliver of hope. Justin Gaethje can beat Ilia Topuria. Even the undefeated fighters fall. You might call me crazy. Logic is telling me that Ilia Topuria will beat Justin Gaethje. But maybe after seeing Sean Strickland beat, Khamzat Chimaev as a 4x underdog. All I'm saying is that maybe an underdog bet is not the most insane thing in the world. But in all honesty, I really think Ilia is going to win. Ilia Topuria is so elite. He's one of the best of the best. Topuria has probably the best 3-fight win streak in the UFC after he slimed Volk, slimed Holloway, and slimed Oliveira back-to-back. We know Ilia has that one-shot knockout power. However, I think Ilia Topuria has some skills that are being overlooked in this fight. I think Ilia Topuria's grappling is an overlooked aspect of his fight here. We know Topuria is an established black belt in BJJ, and before the UFC, he was on a 7-fight submission streak. And, when you look at Justin Gaethje's past in his title fights, submission are what he lost to both times. Charles Oliveira subbed him in 1, and Khabib subbed him in 2. With Ilia Topuria being such a good grappler, I would not be surprised to see him leverage these skills against Justin Gaethje.
Shama.
Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. It's the co-main event, but it's not the people's co-main event. Rumor has it that Benjamin Netanyahu wants Cyril Gane to slime Alex Pereira. Yikes. On betting lines, Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane is a pick'em, so it's even. I'm not going to switch up on Alex Pereira. real Slice Up viewers know that over here we are ride or die with Pereira. That's why in this fight, I'm going to pick Pereira to win. Ciryl Gane is a really tricky heavyweight puzzle to solve. But people forget, man. People forget, man. Alex Pereira was a UFC double champion and was the first ever Glory kickboxing double champion. He slimed Izzy twice, bro. I mean, yeah, to be honest, I think Pereira is going to rebirth again. And he's going to beat Ciryl Gane at heavyweight. And when Alex Pereira wins, he will be the first ever 3-division champion in UFC. If this happens, Alex Pereira has to be in the discussion of the greatest combat sport athletes of all time.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Sean O'Malley versus Amin Zahabi is the people's co-main event. This fight is a banger. Who the fuck is that guy? Real fans know this fight's a banger. All of you casuals are going to say, bro, who's Amin Zahabi? But you're a casual. I think Sean O'Malley versus Amin Zahabi is going to play out so well. Both of these fighters are super fun and interesting to watch. This fight should be a fun one. I'm picking Sean O'Malley to win this fight, and the betting lines are too. Odds open with Sean O'Malley as the -430 favorite, and Amin Zahabi as a +300 underdog. I think both these fighters are very talented, and they're both at this top-level fight for a reason. With that being said, you know, I'm going to pick Sean O'Malley to win. In this division, bantamweight, there are levels. I believe that Sean O'Malley is a level above Amin Zahabi.
My balls was hot.
Oh boy, Josh Hokett versus Derek Lewis. Where to start with this fight? Actually, I know right where to start. Josh Hokett. Josh Hokett is the guy bullying his way through the heavyweight division. Let's break down his timeline. Hokett starts as a football fullback. He then transitions into MMA, where he goes on a 2-fight knockout streak before getting to the UFC. Then, in the UFC, Hokett beats a guy up by spanking his ass, giving him the finger, after which he gets a crack into the top 5. In the top 5, Hokett fights Curtis Blades in the fight of the year in absolute brawl, talks some more shit, and somehow gets a fight against Derek Lewis on the White House lawn. A fight that was not originally scheduled to be on the card. Betting odds have Hokett as a -370 favorite, with Derek Lewis as a +265 underdog. I'm going to pick Hokett to win this fight. Let's be real, the only way for Derek Lewis to win is to knock Hokett out, you know, that one-punch power. Derek Lewis is a bit of a one-trick pony. And to be fair, to play devil's advocate here, Josh Hokett took a lot of hits to the head in the Curtis Blades fight, you know. Those two heavyweights were just standing and brawling. However, Hokett is made of mahogany, and he landed way more shots to Curtis Blades' head. The point in bringing this up is that we saw how strong of a chin that Hokett has. I don't know how he was able to eat so many of an angry Curtis Blades power punches, but his chin, Hokett's chin, is legit made of vibranium. Science needs to study his chin. So, I mean, you can't compare any power in the UFC to Derek Lewis. But even still, I think Josh Hokett's going to win this fight.
Like the video!
Mauricio Rufy versus Michael Chandler. Oh, Michael Chandler. Where to start? You may have lost to some elite competition. You may have lost to frauds like Paddy Pimblett. But Michael Chandler, I have hope. I understand that the UFC has paired you with the slickest, most fluid power punchers on the UFC roster. You may lose this fight, Michael Chandler, but you may also win this fight. I understand that Mauricio Rufy is the Grim Reaper at lightweight, but he's not unable to be beaten. BSD was able to beat Rufy and showed Michael Chandler the keys to victory in this fight. Michael Chandler, you have to grab a leg. Please. I do not want to see Michael Chandler stand and strike with Rufy. He's going to get slimed. The betting odds have Rufy as being a -670 favorite, with Michael Chandler as a +430 underdog. If I took the same $31 in my wallet and all of the hope in the world, put it on Michael Chandler, I could make $133 net profit. That is crazy. Michael Chandler can 4.3x your money. I don't hate the underdog pick here. You know, if Michael Chandler goes out there with fight IQ, listen to myself. Yeah, I think Chandler's gonna get slimed. But if somehow all of his past career fights have changed and Michael Chandler goes out there with some fight IQ, it may be worth the underdog pick here. He's just got to wrestle.